Hey, this is Andrew Brown, and in this video, I just want to take a bit closer look at the CLI Command Reference. So you've probably seen me open it up so many times in follow-alongs, and you might think, why are we even bothering looking at this? But let's just poke around and see if we can learn something new. And so normally I'll just type in AWS CLI when I want to find it, but let's actually go find where AWS would host it, and probably on their developer tools pages. So if we type in developer tools, and we go over to wherever that page is. I'm not sure why I'm having such a hard time finding it right now. Development tools. Here we go, developer tools. You'll notice we have our SDK programming languages. If we go down below, we have command line tools. And so there's actually more than one CLI tool, and this might not even be all of them listed. But we have the AWS CLI, PowerShell, EC2 has their own tools for making AMIs, Elastic Beanstalk has their own, ECS has their own, Amplify has their own, SAM has their own, Copilot, which is for containers, has their own. So there's a bunch of CLIs. The one we're interested in is this one. And I'll just show you here. AWS Shell is still being listed here. I talk about this when we talk about auto prompt and how this is a feature that is 4 years old and never going to be done. So they should really remove it off this page. But whoever maintains these pages are not keeping them up to date. But we can actually get to the GitHub repo and then open up the CLI command reference before we go over to here. Let's take a look at where the website is hosted, or the CLI is hosted. So all the code is here, and for some reason, AWS does not does not keep their releases up to date. But if we go to tags, it's a shame that they don't update releases. So they clearly are making changes, but they're not telling us what those changes are. We can see all the changes that are occurring. 2 is for version 2 of the CLI. 1 is for version 1 of the CLI. If they're doing updates to 1, I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. But anyway, let's go take a look at some of the code. And the AWS CLI is using the SDK underneath. So a lot of the code that you might think is in here is not actually in here. It's just leveraging the SDK in some way, Bodo 3. On the left-hand side, we can go here and they have examples. So we can actually see an example for every single CLI command if we're not sure on how to utilize it. Some are better than others. They'll show the outputs. But most of the time, we'll just get that in the CLI reference. So under customizations, I think that's where we start to see some actual useful information if you're a programmer and you like digging deep in here. So if I'm in code deploy, maybe better would be CloudFormation. We have that deploy action. As you can kind of see the options that are being passed through. I am of the belief that you should be very comfortable being able to open up any kind of source code, even if you don't understand it, to try to poke around to get more knowledge or understanding of the tools that you're utilizing, because you never know when that's going to help you. So that's really interesting there. But let's just close that out and we'll go over here to the actual command line reference. There are 2 versions, version 1, version 2. Obviously, don't use version 1. So here, if we click this, we'll go to version 2 and we'll know that we're there because it says V2. Right away, we are on the index page and it's showing us these global references. I think if we were to click to the table of contents, it would bring us here. So we're just on this page on the command reference, which says reference up here. And we have some global options that says debug, endpoint URL, output, no paginate, query, profile, all these things here. And then down below, we can see all the available services. So whether you want to do from here or there, it's up to you. But we have all of our possible services. We can go to anything in here and click into something like Glacier. And we can see all the available commands. And then from there, we can click into a specific command. Sometimes it will have examples. They don't always have examples, as you can see here. And then sometimes they will show the output. It's a shame that they don't always show the output. It could be the case this command has no output, but seeing that structure helps a lot. Then you'll see all the possible arguments you can provide as flags. And sometimes you will have to read very carefully at the top the options because it might explain something in particular that you need to know. Maybe not options, but up here in the description. So, if you're exploring something new and you don't know what it is, take the time to read the top. I don't do this in the videos too often because I use this stuff so often. I don't need to do that. But here they're talking about path argument type and they're talking about that in great detail. So if you want to know more about the S3 URI, you can read about it here. And this might not even show up in the docs. It might only show up here in the references here. Okay. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to show you. I noticed there's a user guide up here. So I guess this talks more about the CLI, and actually a lot of our content, we've basically combed through all of this, so there's no need to read through it because basically I've extracted out all the best parts for you. But anyway, yeah, that's the CLI there for you. So there you go.